Hello and welcome to your Fantasy Premier League one-stop shop. I'm your host Stephen Gallagher, world number 3 in points totals over the past 3 seasons. Today we're looking at all the key points for Game Week 23, what to do with Nicholas Jackson, Phil Foden, which defenders, midfielders and forwards to buy, fixtures to target, optimal rotations, captaincy and more. If you're watching on YouTube and have been enjoying the videos, or if this is your first time watching, drop a like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. And if you're listening on audio, then rate the episodes 5 stars if you enjoyed. Let's get straight into it, starting with the injury news. For Arsenal, Saliba is out for the next 2 weeks with a hamstring injury. This obviously impacts Arsenal's defensive strength massively, so if you own multiple Arsenal defenders, then consider moving them on to have just one for now. For Aston Villa, Onana is out with a hamstring injury, but it doesn't sound like he'll be out for too long. For Chelsea, Lavia returned from injury and unfortunately got injured again. Enzo has also picked up an injury, but apparently it isn't as severe as Lavia's. For Liverpool, Diogo Jota is out for a few weeks after a muscle injury. Joe Gomez will also be out for a few weeks. And Konate says that he's been taking painkillers to rush his return from injury so that he can help the team. All these injuries obviously have massive implications towards which Liverpool assets to go for with their double coming up. Jota being out makes Gakpo's minutes more secure as Diaz only has Darwin to compete with at striker, and Diaz is also Gakpo's competition at left wing. I think Joe Gomez being out makes Konate's minutes a bit more secure. However, if he's been playing while taking painkillers, then that's not a good look at all. Definitely worth keeping an eye on who plays in Liverpool's Champions League, FA Cup and League Cup fixtures around the Premier League games. For Nottingham Forest, Callum Hudson-Odoi felt a muscular issue after sprinting, but he posted on social media after that it's hopefully nothing serious. For Southampton, Diblin will be out for at least 4 weeks with an ankle injury. For Spurs, Solanke is out for at least 6 weeks with a knee injury. Bissouma picked up a knock against Arsenal but could be back in time for this game week. And Brennan Johnson also picked up a knock and is expected to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. Next up is what to do with Nicholas Jackson. This is the 3rd week in a row that I've had this section, and if that isn't saying something, then I don't know what is. He continues to underperform his expected data significantly. Since game week 12, he's recorded the highest XG underperformance of any player in the league. I think Wolves at home was his last chance for a lot of people, and he plays Man City next, so selling for someone like Wood, Wissa or Mateta is definitely an option that you should consider, especially if it means freeing up some funds to upgrade your midfield and getting in like an Mbeumo or Gordon. That's definitely a good set of moves to make right now. We will see in the fixtures to target section later in the video though that Chelsea do have some pretty nice fixtures coming up, so if you could consider even rotating Jackson in and out of your team, that's the only reason I would suggest keeping him right now. Very quickly on Phil Foden, he got 19 points this game week and 15 the game week before, on absolute fire with 59 points since game week 17. But the fixtures have been really kind to him, and that all changes here. As you can see, Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, Spurs and Nottingham Forest in the next 6. It's definitely not time to buy Phil Foden with these fixtures coming up, and if you own him like I do, I think it's time to say thank you for the points and have a good one. It was a good run while it lasted, but as a fixtures oriented manager, I just can't justify looking at those fixtures and saying that I want to keep him. I think Phil Foden is a sell. Next up is defenses to target using our fixture difficulty ratings and our defensive strength ratings, combining the two so we can rank teams on who has the best combination of defensive fixtures and strength over the next 6 game weeks, right up to game week 28 before the blank game week in 29. First in the rankings are Liverpool. They play Ipswich at home this game week, then Bournemouth and Everton in the double game week in 24, then Wolves at home in 25. They're the best defence in the league, tied first for clean sheets with a game in hand, and have the lowest expected goals conceded per 90. They've got amazing fixtures and a double coming up. I think having 2 Liverpool defenders for this run is a great idea. Trent and Van Dijk, I would say, are the best options. I would have had Konate up higher on that list before the news of him playing on painkillers this whole time came out, just based off his price, but now with that news, he's slightly lower on the list, and it makes his minutes less secure, so I'd actually have Alisson ahead of him too. Second in the rankings are Arsenal. They play Wolves, Leicester and West Ham in 3 of the next 4. All really good fixtures from a defensive perspective. Their defensive data is one of the best in the league. However, with Saliba out, it does make the other defensive assets less appealing. But with these good fixtures coming up, I still think having one Arsenal defender is the best option right now, and Gabriel is the one to go for in my opinion. Third in the rankings is Chelsea, but as you can see, their fixtures in game week 27 and 28 are Southampton and Leicester, which is bringing up the table significantly. However, they play City next, which isn't ideal, and they haven't been performing well defensively either. So I wouldn't recommend buying a Chelsea defender right now, but if you already have one and can rotate them in and out, then I'd suggest keeping. I'll show you some nice rotations for them in the next section. But if you don't like the sound of that, then I would also understand selling to get in a Liverpool defender for the upcoming double. Fourth in the rankings are Crystal Palace. 2 clean sheets in the last 2 games, albeit against Leicester and West Ham. But the upcoming fixtures are also good, and Munoz offers a lot of attack and threat. So even if a clean sheet isn't on the table, he's got potential for attack and returns. He's been unlucky to get no attack and returns in the past few game weeks because he's always so involved in the attack. It's only a matter of time before he bags a goal or an assist. It's worth noting though that Crystal Palace have a high likelihood of blanking in Game Week 29 if Newcastle make it to the semi-final of the League Cup. So if you're looking to get Munoz or other Crystal Palace or even Newcastle assets this week, then just keep that in mind. Fifth in the rankings are Fulham. They play Man United and Newcastle next, which aren't the best fixtures from a defensive perspective. However, after that, the fixtures are good. They're ranked 4th in the league for expected goals conceded. Yes, they only have 4 clean sheets this season, but the expected data and the fixtures are good enough for me to suggest going for them. Robinson and Castagne are the ones to go for with their attack and threat and consistent minutes. Before we go to the defender rotation section, just a quick point on the teams with the worst upcoming fixtures. Man City and Forest both have really tough games in the next 6, so if you own Man City defenders, then I'd suggest moving them on. And if you own multiple Forest defenders, I wouldn't worry too much about it because they've just been so good this season defensively. Next up is our defender rotations, where I've run a model to calculate the optimal rotations for defenders over the next 6 game weeks. Crystal Palace and Man United ranking first, then Chelsea and Bournemouth, which is the best one here in my opinion. You get Forest at home for Bournemouth, then West Ham at home for Chelsea, followed by Southampton away and Wolves at home for Bournemouth, then Southampton at home and Leicester at home for Chelsea. So if you own a Bournemouth and Chelsea defender, then I'd hold on for this nice fixture rotation coming up. Next up is attacks to target using our fixture difficulty ratings and attack and strength ratings over the next 6 game weeks. First in the rankings is Chelsea, the second best attack in the league for XG per 90, third most goals scored in the league. The 2 popular assets, Palmer and Jackson, both blanked against Wolves last week. Jackson we already discussed. Selling him now makes a lot of sense unless you're happy to rotate him in and out, which we'll see in the next section. But he's 7.9 mil, which isn't the price of a player that you'd really want to be rotating. Then there's Cole Palmer. He's an easy hold for me, probably a season keeper for a lot of people. He plays City next, but after that he's got really nice fixtures to attack. Second in the rankings is Liverpool. They're the best attack in the league, most goals scored, highest XG per 90, and the fixtures are amazing with Ipswich at home, followed by Bournemouth and Everton in the double, then Wolves at home in Game Week 25. Salah is a massive captaincy shout in all of the next 3 game weeks, but other than Salah, which Liverpool attacker do we go for? I think Gakpo is the best choice, just based off the fact that his minutes have been the best of the other Liverpool attackers. He started the last 10 games in the Premier League, so he could be the one to go for with Liverpool's double coming up in Game Week 24. Third in the rankings is Spurs. Their attacking data has fallen off a cliff since the start of the season. Since Game Week 12, they rank 9th for XG per 90 and 6th for goals scored, which isn't bad by any means, but nowhere near the free-flowing attack that they had at the start of the season. However, their upcoming fixtures are really nice. Leicester at home, Brentford away, Man United at home, then Ipswich away in the next 4. Really good fixtures to attack. In terms of which Spurs attackers to go for, Solanke and Brennan Johnson are both out injured for the next few weeks, which makes Son a more interesting option as he could play striker, but so can Richarlison. Other than that, Maddison and Kulusevski could also be good punts with these nice upcoming fixtures. Fourth in the rankings are Bournemouth. They just put 4 past Newcastle and Kluivert got a hat-trick. Their next 2 fixtures are really tough, Forest and Liverpool at home, arguably 2 of the toughest fixtures you can have as an attacker. Yes, after that the fixtures look really nice, but I would just wait until Game Week 25 to invest in the Bournemouth attack. Fifth in the rankings is Aston Villa. They play West Ham at home, Wolves away and Ipswich at home in the next 3. Rodgers and Watkins, the one to go for from them. I think Rodgers is the safer pick based off his minutes. With Watkins it's hard to tell because Duran is back fit, but I'd hold on to him for now if you own him. Finally, 6th in the rankings is Brentford. Their upcoming fixtures are really nice and they love to score goals. Especially these 2 men, Mbeumo and Wissa, are the ones to go for from them. Before we go to the attacker rotation section, just a quick point on the teams with the worst upcoming fixtures. Wolves, Man City, Forest and Fulham all have tough upcoming fixtures. So if you own a lot of attackers from those teams, then I'd suggest moving some of them on. However, if Chris Wood is one of those players, then I'd suggest keeping him because he's essentially fixture proof. On to the attacker rotations. As you can see, the model really likes Chelsea's fixtures, so if you have Jackson and are happy to rotate him, I think the best option would be pairing him with a Villa attacker. You get West Ham at home for Villa, then West Ham at home for Chelsea, Ipswich at home for Villa, Villa away for Chelsea, then Southampton and Leicester at home for Chelsea. Now, if you don't fancy rotating an £8 million asset, I'm with you on that. I've gone ahead and removed Chelsea from the analysis. Now we can see Spurs and Bournemouth are ranking top, which looks really good. You get Leicester at home, then Brentford away for Spurs, followed by Southampton away for Bournemouth, then Ipswich at home for Spurs, then Brighton and Spurs away for Bournemouth. Some really nice fixtures to rotate there. On to the stats review, where we analyse the best performing players statistically and combine that with the fixture difficulty ratings. Players in red are the most expensive and in green are the cheapest. For goalkeepers, we're looking at expected goals conceded per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty rating. The two premium keepers, Alisson and Raya, looking really good in the top right here. Then Henderson at Palace, also near the top of the plot, as well as Flecken, Onana, Sanchez and Martinez all have good upcoming fixtures. On to defenders, we're looking at non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 against the defensive fixture difficulty rating multiplied by the team's defensive strength. Trent far and above the best asset based off upcoming fixtures and his attacking data. You can see all the Liverpool players at the top here, followed by Arsenal defenders with Gabriel the standout option based off his attacking data. Also showing up well here, Munoz at Palace, Robinson from Fulham, Digne at Villa and Estupinian at Brighton. On to the midfielders, we're looking at non-penalty expected goal involvement per 90 against the attacking fixture difficulty ratings. Chelsea players on top here with Palmer, followed by Madueke and Enzo. Spurs close behind with Pape Sarr's data the best of the bunch, although most of that XG came from a few big chances in 3 or so games. Liverpool just below with Salah, followed by Jota and Diaz. Then Brentford assets just below with Shade actually outperforming Buemo on expected data. Onto the forwards, you can see Haaland in the bottom right here. Man City's upcoming fixtures are really tough, and he's not doing enough to justify his price, which is skewing the price colouring system here, so let's remove him from the plot to get a better perspective on the pricing of the rest of the forwards. Jackson looking really well up in the top right here. Great upcoming fixtures and great expected data, although that's been the problem for him. He's not converting any of those chances that he's been getting. Other names in the top right quadrant are Solanke, Watkins, Wissa, Gakpo, Darwin, Mateta and Isak of course. On to captaincy, and in the first spot I have Salah against Ipswich away. A great fixture to target with Ipswich's defensive record. They just conceded 6 to City last week, and Salah will be itching for a goal after not scoring in the past 2 game weeks. I think he'll smash it this week. In second, I have Isak against Southampton away. Southampton are leaking goals for fun, and Isak has been scoring goals for fun. They're definitely the team to target. I think captaincy is between Isak and Salah this game week, and although it feels like a toss-up for most, I just edge it in Salah's favour as he's got the home fixture and he's also a midfielder, so he gets more points for goals and clean sheets. Not to mention he's Mo Salah. In third place, I have Son against Leicester at home. Again, just targeting the fixture here, and with Solanke out, Son might end up playing striker, which means more chances, more shots and more points probably. He's in third, followed by Watkins against West Ham at home in fourth place here. Now, with Duran back, he'll be waiting on the bench, and Ollie Watkins will probably want to show why he is the main man. West Ham have been really leaky all season, and Potter coming in hasn't really changed that. I expect goals for Villa in this game. And finally, in fifth, I have Trent Alexander-Arnold against Ipswich away. I do expect a clean sheet from Liverpool, and I also expect Trent to continue attacking like he always does. If he can combine an attack and return with a clean sheet, then he'll be in for a lot of points this game week. On to my Game Week 22 review. 51 points, a Game Week rank of 3.5 million, up to 355k overall. This game week was looking absolutely grim after the Saturday games. I was down to 550k overall. Then this man, Phil Foden, came in to save my rank. Foden, Robinson and Hall are the only players in my team to score more than 3 points in my starting 11. I left 2 6-pointers on the bench, but I'm just happy to have survived without a red arrow. Let's see what the plan is to get another green arrow next week. For Game Week 23, I've got 3 free transfers and 0.2 mil in the bank. The plan this week is to say our farewells to Philip Foden. He's been a dutiful servant since Saka got injured. He scored 50 points since then, and I think now is time to say goodbye and say hello to Brian and Buemo. But we might be saying goodbye and hello to another couple, which is Jackson out for Johan Wissa. Just as Buemo and Wissa are a dynamic duo in real life, they might be a dynamic duo in my squad this game week. but I haven't decided if I want to get Jackson out just yet. I know that sounds mad with how poor he's been, and as I've told you all to sell him as well, but I did also say that you can rotate him in and out if you want, and I am thinking of doing just that because I can bench him this game week. He plays Man City, but if I get Wissa in this week, then I'll have a benching headache between Sarr and Rodgers. So a lot of thinking to do, a lot of planning to do. If you want to see what I end up going for, then tune into my deadline stream 1 hour before the deadline at 12:30 this Saturday UK time. I'll be answering all your transfer questions and showing you what I'm doing with my team this game week. Also follow me on Twitter at FPL Gallaher if you want to see what I end up doing this game week. That's all for today, folks. Go ahead and drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and rate 5 stars on audio. Until next time, guys, have a good one.